Shalom. I'm Rabbi Davidovich, speaking to you from Efrat, Israel. Tonight we're going to discuss a little bit of this week's Torah reading. Parsha is Parsha Bo in the book of Shemot, and we're going to be doing the Netivot Shalom, and we're going to be doing the Netivot Shalom on the book of Shemot, which is this particular sefer right here, and we're going to start with the Torah that he has written on page Pei-Hey, 85. And this Parsha, we have the first mitzvah of the Torah. And the first mitzvah of the Torah is that this month, Chodesh Hazeh Lachem, this month shall be for you Rosh Chadashim, the head of all the months. Now we saw that this particular commandment was referred to at the beginning of the Torah, not in the Torah, but by Rashi, the commentator. And what did Rashi say? In the very first sentence of the Torah. The very first sentence of the Torah begins, Bereshis bor Elokim es hashamayim v'es. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So Rashi asks, why? Why doesn't God start with the first commandment that he gave to the Jewish people? And what is that first commandment? This one that we're talking about tonight, Chodesh Hazeh Lachem, this month should be the first month, the head of the months. And he says the reason the Torah doesn't start with that is because there will be a time when people will come up and will say that this land of Israel that God has given to the Jewish people, they have stolen from us. And then God will say, I created the land. I can give the land to whomever I want to. I can take it from whoever I want to. And I've chosen to give it to the Jewish people. So Rashi, in the very first sentence, very prophetic about what would happen in today's day, very prophetic, talked about this particular mitzvah. So let's see what this mitzvah is about. This mitzvah is going to be talking about sanctifying the new month, the concept of putting holiness into time. And let's see what the Netivot Shalom says. He says, V'yomer Hashem al Moshe v'al Aaron, God spoke to Moshe and Aaron, Be'eretz Mitzrayim, in the land of Egypt, Lamor, saying, Achodesh hazeh lachem rosh chadashim, this month shall be to you the first of the months, the head of the months, Rishon hu lachem, the first for you, l'chodshei hashana, for the months of the year. Hine katav Rashi, Rashi writes, Bereish Bereshis, shelo hayat tzorech l'hatchil et Torah el me'chodesh hazeh lachem. As I've just said to you in the introduction, Rashi writes that it wasn't necessary to start the Torah except with this mitzvah. Mitzvah zu kiddush hachodesh b'hayaroi l'hatchil et Torah. This commandment of sanctifying the new month was fitting to be the first sentence in the Torah. But you have to understand this unique reasoning for doing that. And more than that question is about why Rashi is saying it should have been the very first sentence of the Torah. Why the very first commandment of the Torah, very first commandment at the beginning of the Torah? Why was it said now in this parsha, which deals with as the Jews are about ready to get out of Egypt, the bringing of the Korban Pesach, the Paschal offering, and the Yetzias Mitzrayim, the getting out of Egypt? What does this have to do with that? Umechilta Dorshu al Pasuk Zeh, and the Mechilta explains on this sentence, HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem, says Lachem, to you. What is the significance of the two? So he says, Lo mana bo Adam Harishon. Adam, first man, did not count the days by the moon. Klomer, Shemimos Adam Harishon ad Yetzias Mitzrayim hayamonim lechama. From the time that man was created until the Jews left Egypt, we counted our time from the sun. The sun is how we calculated time. That was a day, 24 hours a day, 365 days in a year, and so on. Barak, the Eis Yetzias Mitzrayim, only from the time of Yetzias Mitzrayim, leaving Egypt, Shenitztavu mitzvah kiddush hachodesh, when God commanded us to sanctify the month, the new month, every month. Hitchilu limnot l'levana. That's when the Jewish people began to count their time from the moon. Rishon hu lechem. This is the first to you, Jewish people. Below lakum, not to the nations of the world. B'matzinu lamdam Yisrael. The Jewish people learn monim l'lavana v'akim l'chama. We see that the Jewish people have learned that they count by the moon, and the nations of the world count by the sun. And that's why I refer to the Jewish people as moon people. And we're going to see, as we go through this, we're going to see the significance of why it's important to be moon people. What lesson we learned that. But Sorach Bir Inyan is that we have to understand this thing. Why only with this specific mitzvah? There's lots of commandments that the Torah gives. And you know, from the way the Torah, that God is speaking to Moshe and to the children of Israel, you know that he's commanding this mitzvah to us. This commandment is for us. Why in this particular one do we have to say the word lachem? It was for you specifically. We also have to answer the question of the sages, the sages throughout the centuries who have asked why this was said, why it's said here at the very beginning. He says, he said to them in Eretz Mitzrayim. Why is it specified as to where it was said? The other commandments aren't prefaced with saying God spoke to the Jewish people from here and there and there, not a geography lesson. So why here from Mitzrayim? And the parentheses says Aidei Barashi, Perish Be'eretz Mitzrayim K'nei Mechilta. Rashi brings the Mechilta again to explain in the land of Egypt. The land of Egypt was so filled with tumah, with defilement. It was such a place of avodah zarah, of idol worship, and everything that was contrary to the creator of the world. That whenever Moshe would go out and Paro would say to Moshe, "Okay, I've had enough. Ask God to stop this. Take this plague away." He would go outside of the city to pray to God because he couldn't pray in the city. The fish was full of all kinds of bad things that weren't fitting for prayer. So despite that, we still don't understand why God is saying that he said this in the land of Egypt. Well, Inyan, and what this is talking about is there's great discussion about the aspect of sanctifying the new moon. As it says in the Gemara in Sanhedrin, HaChodesh hazeh lachem, and it says, Kol hamavorech al HaChodesh bizmano ki'ilu makabel pnei shechina. Everybody who blesses the new moon in its proper time. What is the proper time? The proper time is, according to some, from the third day after the moon begins, third day after Rosh Chodesh. So yesterday happened to be Rosh Chodesh. So today was the second day. So tonight is already the third day. Others say it's after the seventh day, but no later than the 15th day. Those are the time to sanctify the new moon. So it says here in the Torah this month, and it says further on when the Jews have crossed the Yam Suf, the Sea of Reeds, and they say the prayer Oz Yashur Moshe, they sing and the praise of God after having successfully crossed the sea. It says in there, "Zeh keli vanvehu." This is my God, and I will glorify Him. So Shalom Atzinu Kagon Dab Inyano Acher. We don't find this kind of a dichotomy, this kind of relationship between two things anywhere else. The concept of Achodesh Hazel Lachem, this one shall be to you, and this is my God, I will glorify Him. The Yesh Lamer can be said, the Inyan Yisrael Moni Lavana, the aspect of the Jews counting according to the moon, because let's look at the moon. What's it about? There are times, Yesh Zmanim, Shehi Kasi Achoshech. It's like the total darkness. The Ein Roim Bo Shum Nitzus Shalor. You don't see at the end of the moon cycle when it's basically in total darkness. You don't see even any splinter, any spark of light. Ach Gam B'si Hachoshes, sorry. Even in the midst of this darkness, Yodim, the Jewish people know, Shu Tatchil Shuv Lahayir Kabarishona V'Tachzor Limlua. Jewish people know that even at the darkest time, the moon will begin turning and coming more and more light every day and being restored to as it was in its fullest extent. Kach heim chaya am Yisrael kedugmas halvana. That's why the life of the Jew, of the children of Israel, compared to the moon. Kol seder achayim shel am Yisrael ratzuv simanim shel choshev afela. The whole life of the Jewish people are constantly, quickly going from one aspect to another of darkness and difficulty. Rov yemeiam begolios. V'sovlim soros rabos for v'reos. Most of the days are days in exile, and we're suffering from different kinds of problems and different kinds of bitter things. Ach Yisrael, monim l'lavana, but Bnei Yisrael count by the moon. V'af b'siach hasheichos yodim sheshuv yeshuvu lahir kebrishona. They know that no matter how dark things are for them, they will always be able to return to the light of the beginning, the light of the beginning. And this applies, what he's talking about here, I believe, is not only to Bnei Yisrael, the whole people of Israel as a whole, that we as a peoplehood will come out of the darkness, as we've seen now in our own modern times. We came out of the darkest period of the Shoah, of the Holocaust, now to the brightest period. We're in Eretz Yisrael, in the land of Israel. But each one of us individually, we have our own dark times, whether it's illness, whether it's finances, whether it's whatever other kind of suffering. We each have our own difficulties. And what this is teaching us, the lesson from sanctifying the moon, is that if we remember that we are like the moon, and that no matter how dark it is, at the end, you will see the light at the fullest. And we say in the blessing over the new moon, Chok uzman nasan lahem shlo yishanu es tafkidim. God has established by decree a time that He's given to the moon to never change its work. The moon is always happy and joyful to do the will of its creator. In other words, the moon is created to go through this cycle and happy to do so. Similarly, at the greatest part of darkness, the Jewish people are happy and rejoicing because they know that this darkness will pass and we're going into the great life, great light. Shekol she'enu behester panim, enu mehem. Things that are not hidden are not part of them. And the greatest difficulty, time of greatest difficulties, the Jews should be rejoicing and be happy. We will see later on in the Shemot when Moshe went up to Shemayim to receive the Torah. It says, Moshe Allah El Harafel. Moshe went into the Arafel. What is Arafel? There's three different kinds of darkness, different levels of darkness. There's Anan, which is regular darkness. There's Choshech, which is really deep darkness. And there's Arafel, which is like a palpable, right? Like a palpable darkness. You can feel it. It was so dark. And what happened in that darkness? There he found God. And that's a message for all of us. This is what HaChodesh Hazeh Lechem means. Lechem lo lakum. To you, Bnei Yisrael, you're chosen for Yisrael. Domim lo levana b'kach hu mitoch choshech v'afelu ad kedei yeshuvu lahir kimei olam. Because the secret of being a Jew is that within them is this recognition, this spark that recognizes that no matter how dark it is, we will always get to renewed light. It's similar to what we talked about last week when we talked about the kusta de chiyusa, the little spark of life that exists in the Jew, which is his emunah, the faith in God, knowing that no matter how bad things are always going to get better. That no matter what you have done, you have this little spark of life inside of you as a Jew. That's the kusta de chiyusa. Vad kedei kach shekol she'enu behester panim einu mahim. Val kein tzivu HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael. So therefore God commanded the children of Israel al inyan kiddush HaChodesh, on the aspect of making the month holy, sanctifying the new moon, the mitzvah rishona Torah, the first mitzvah of the Torah to the Jews, kodem mitzvahs korban pesach, even before the mitzvah of the Paschal offering, which was the mitzvah that was given as we were about to leave Egypt. Today, l'ramez al inyan zeh, to hint at this, shu yesod v'shoresh hamuna, that this is the secret and the root of faith in Hashem. She Yisrael moni l'levana, that the Jew counts according to the moon, at the greatest time of darkness, maminim, the Jewish people will believe, she'ein zeh stam choshech ba'alma, this is not just darkness alone, ella, zeh b'hashgacha pratit me'Hashem yisborach, this is specifically brought about by Hashem, v'chok uzman nasan lahem shelo yishanu es tafkidam, and God has decreed this time that they shouldn't change from their purpose in life. And what he's saying, not only the moon has this purpose, but the Jew has the purpose to recognize that in the darkest part of time, all he has to do is hang on and know that hanging on, he shouldn't give up. Know that hanging on, there will be light again. The Chazal, Dimu Inyan Zeh, She Yisrael Monim Levana V'akum Monim Lechama. And what is the comparison that the sages make on this, on the difference between the peoples of the world counting their time from the sun and the Jews from the moon? The sun shines during the day and doesn't shine at night. But the moon is always there in the sky. Somebody may not see it. But early in the morning, you can see, if you're up early enough, you can see the sun rising at one point, and you can see the moon still up. At other times of the day, you can see part of the moon. So the moon is always there. Nirmaz b'zeh. So it's hinting at this. Hagoyim afilu chasdei umas olam. Ovnim es Hashem rak b'yom bizman she'or lehem. That most other people will only serve God only when things are good for them, when things are light during the day. But they lose their ability to serve God and to recognize that good things are going to happen in the darkest times. They look at the darkest times and they give up hope. There's Yush. And for a Jew, it's just the opposite. Rabbi Nachman says Ein Yiyush Olam. For a Jew, there's no such thing as giving up, as feeling that what's the value of going on. V'hem mavitim v'yotzim. Ve'en yodim min havoda shel v'monaschim alaylos. And the nations of the world don't understand where we say in the Tehillim that we say just on Friday night, and we'd say it other times too, Mizmor the David, we say Tov lahodos laHashem. It is good to give thanks to God. Ulhagi baboker chazdecha, and to talk about his kindness in the morning. And at night to have emunah, to have your faith. What does that mean? That it's easy when everything is going well. Thank God for what's going on. You recognize, oh, this is fantastic. The yom, the light is shining. But in the darkness, when things look like they're at the very end, what gets you through is the emunah. The emunah, the trust and belief in God that the darkness is going to give way to light. Avi Yisrael monim l'alvana, hasholeh b'yom v'layla. The Jew counts by the moon, which is visible day and night. Hem ovdim as Hashem yisborach b'chol matzavim shehem nimtzim kachashecha ka'ora. A Jew should be serving God without any regard to whether he's got a difficult time or a great time, whether it's dark or whether it's light. The service of God should be the same with simcha, with joy. The Tamid Maminim should always believe Shema Hashem Yisborach Osa Hakol L'Tova, that everything that Hashem is doing, even those things that appear bitter, is really for good. Afilu Matzavim Shel Chashecho Shematzuka, even in the darkest times, most depressing times, V'Hakol Shava Eslam, everything is equal to them, that this is something that God is doing, not as a punishment, but he's doing it out of the goodness that he desires to have to his people, even though we don't understand how that can be good, and there are things that are very bitter, but there's no such thing as bad. It seems bad, but really, and I've used this quote before from the of Levi Yitzchak of Barditchev. He says many times things look bad, but at the end, when everything is revealed, we will see that everything was for the good. And I'm reminded of a story of, I believe it was, forgive me for quoting the wrong names, two Hasidic rabbis. One was, I think, the Chozeh of Lublin, and the other was, I'm not sure. I forgot who it was. But one was on the deathbed, and the other one made him promises, when you go up to heaven, I want you to raise the roof and talk to God and say, what's going on here? Please come save the Jewish people. Come and take care of these things. And the person dies, and a few days later he comes to the other one in a dream. And the other one asks him, he says, you said you were going to have God, you were going to go up to heaven and plead with God to change things, to change all these difficult things we're having. And he said, yes, I did say that. But when I got up here, I didn't see that anything was bad. I saw that everything was good. So it's the perception that we in this life don't really have, but we can work towards that perception by realizing that Hakol Tov, everything is for the good. This is the first mitzvah, first commandment that Bnei Yisrael were commanded. Mitzvah. Excuse me. A mitzvah gedol b'yoter. This was the greatest mitzvah. Shafil b'amsheichim kashil nirashu nitzut shel or. Even at a time where you don't even see the slimmest spark of light. Excuse me. That's a problem of drinking while you're talking. Even when you can't see the smallest spark of light. Gam oz ma'aminim Yisrael, b'emunah shalema. The Jew believes with perfect faith, v'ahava Hashem Yisborach Lam Yisrael, and the love of God for the people of Israel. Shekol hanhagei imam hirak letova. All that is being done to the children of Israel, to the Jewish people, are only for good. V'godel havos Yisborach Elohim, from the greatness of the love of God to his people. K'mosh Messiah b'Avram Avinu, as we find with Avram Avinu, Avram our father, Shomer Chazal, the sages said, Asar Nisyonos Nisnas Avram Avinu. Abraham went through 10 tests. Uvishloma Anisayan Harishon Yitzchak moving much most Nisayan. He says they talk about 10 tests. I can see that the first test, where he was thrown into the fiery furnace because he didn't want to bow down to the idols. And the last test, where he was told to sacrifice his son Yitzchak, I can see that those are difficult tests. Aval b'shar nisyonos, but the other tests, kagon vayhi rav b'oretz, there was a famine in the land. But tilaka chayisha bas paro, he took a tilaka chayisha bas paro. His wife was taken by Paro, Kiyotziba, all these things. These were things he had no control over. So it didn't seem like a real test. The first two, he had a test, to jump into the fire or to take his son up. But these that didn't seem like it was really a test. He had no choice. Even those things where he had no choice, the things that were happening to him, every single one of them, he didn't question God's motives. And he accepted everything with love. And this is considered a test in the highest level. The fact that you're accepting those things that you don't have control over. I've said many times, we can't control the situation we are in, but we can control how we react to it. And Avram's reaction to it was one of love. And the fact that this is how Bnei Israel serve God, count their days from the moon, knowing that's going to be light, whether it's dark or day or night. That made it fitting to be the first commandment. I'm going to skip down to the next page, the last paragraph on page Zion. There's a lot of other things he goes into, but I don't want to take that much time. So, Od Marumas b'mitzvah chodesh ezelechem. It can also be hinted at this mitzvah of chodesh ezelechem. Sheyehudi mitzuva lis chadesh tamid kabriya chadasha. Not only do we have to sanctify the new moon and recognize that the new moon is new each month, but we also have to take ourselves on an individual basis and renew ourselves as if we're a new creation. As we say in the blessing over the new moon, the sanctification of the new moon, to the moon we say, you shall bring restore the great, beautiful crown to those who have difficulties in their life, so that they will in the future be like you. In other words, recognize that they will too see the light in the future, no matter of the difficulties. A mitzvah Yisrael, the first mitzvah that was commanded to Bnei Israel, Hainu hadavar harishon, Shomar Kodesh Baruch Yisrael. This is the first thing that God spoke to Israel, to the children of Israel. Shorosh l'chol tzarich Yehudi tamid lischadesh. The most important thing is that every Jew has the opportunity, and must take the opportunity to renew himself every year. I think it's Rabbi Yonah who says that the person who does tshuva, who repents, and this is a Torah he had about Rosh Hashanah, person who repents really is like a new person. And of course, the sages talk about, Balei tshuva, A person who's repented, the greatest righteous people can't stand where they're standing, because they become a completely different person. And actually, the sins, the wrongs that the Baal Tshuva has done before, those that were done intentionally are turned into unintentional sins. Those that were done intentionally, unintentionally, are turned into mitzvot. So he gets reward for them even. That's the high level of doing tshuva, of repenting, returning to God. This is the aspect of Kiddush Levana. It teaches on renewing oneself. The sun is very great and very strong, but there's nothing new about it. All the expression, nothing new under the sun. Shebechol si alfei shani hi me'ira tamid ba'osa mida. All through the years, through the generations, the sun shines the same way. The sun, the moon is always changing. Lavana omer sh'tischadesh v'chulu lamusivatu shemastim l'schadesh kamosam shehudi l'schadesh tamid mechadash. A Jew should always renew himself to be something new. Kamo halavana shebachol chodesh tchilaso v'chusa v'echshechas ba'od. Even and like the moon, that every month it is covered up. Oz mischadeshes. And then it comes back to be bright as it was at first. Kachem Yisrael. This is to the Bnei Yisrael, the Jewish people. Shematidim lischadesh kamosa. They're going to be like the moon. When things are so dark, they don't even see a spark of lightness. Of lightness. I don't know, is that a word, lightness? A spark of light. They don't see a spark of light. Yisrael monim lavana mechadeshes b'toksiach chashecha. They count the moon. They count the days when they will see the light again. We always see the light at the end of the tunnel. He goes on to say, "B'chol matzav shehudi nimtzah gam b'matzavim hagaroim b'yoter." Even the worst kinds of things, Ratzon hu elyon. It is the will of God. Sheyimtza es haderach lischadesh. It's the will of God that we should find our way to renew ourselves. And in fact, when you want to come closer to God, it's certainly fitting to ask God to help you come close. When you want to do tshuva and return to God, you can ask God to help you do it. And the sages say, "Habal atahir masayimoso." If somebody wants to improve themselves, as long as you're trying to do it, God will help you do the rest. Shafil b'tachlis hashechos ein shum keren or lahir afilaso. Even the darkest time when there's not even the splinter of light to light up the darkness, yitchadesh Yehudi kibriya chadash. A Jew renews like a new person. I'm just going to go to the last paragraph on this page. Mitzvot hachodesh hazeh lachem liot monim lavona. This mitzvah being counting like the moon. He mitzvah rishona shnitztav Yisrael is the first commandment to children of Israel. The meshakefes es mitziyoso shalam Yisrael alei adomas, and it encompasses the whole reality of the Jewish people on this world. We find this with King David, a blessed memory. His whole life was full of misery and difficulties. But David Melech Yisrael Chai v'kayim, and yet we say David, the King of Israel, lives forever. B'kach Am Yisrael, and so too the children of Israel. Ovrim kol yomeyim kashim v'telos for Galois. We may have very difficult times that we go through, and we've gone through many different times, and the David HaMelech, Masamel es HaMetzios shel Chai Am Yisrael. David HaMelech, King David, symbolized what the Jew has to be, the life of the Jew has to be. Kamod the Kosovo, as it says in Tehillim 69, it says, Muzer hayisi lachi, I was strange to my brothers. V'nachri livneim ami, I was a stranger to my people. Shekol mitziyosu haisu muzer hayisi lachi. All his life was strange and difficulty. Zu mitziyu shel klal Yisrael. That's what the people of Israel are like. V'chol nisyonos ha'ovrim aleim. All of the tests that we have to pass. Tami de b'chol zos. All the tests we have to pass. B'chol zos chayim v'kiyamim heim v'atidim lischadish k'mosam. And despite all these difficult tests we go through, either as a nation or as an individual, this teaches us how we have to have, that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and even if in the darkest time, in just a moment, we're going to change to the light. And that concludes what we're going to study tonight on the Netivot Shalom. I wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom, Chodesh Tov. I wish everybody that, on Shabbos, just one last thought. In the Kiddush on Shabbos, we say, Vayivorech Hashem, that God blessed the seventh day. And the sages asked, with what did he bless it? And the answer is, with light. Special light is available on Shabbos. I wish to all of us that we should have the light of Shabbos in our days, every single day of the week. And on Shabbos, that light shall intensify. Thank you for listening. Shabbat Shalom.
Sure.